Hey everyone, it's Denny with Why Is This True? And soon to be Get Wisdom. I'll have my feet in both of those enterprises here pretty soon. So, it's cool here again, so I'm in the patio, and the fog is blowing in from the east, which is very unusual. We're near the coast where I live. We're about 60 miles north of San Francisco and about 20 miles from the ocean. So we're in what they call a fog channel, and it comes in from the coast most of the time. And it's in the morning, and then it burns off, and then it comes back in the evening. Well, today it's coming in from the east, and I think it has to do with all that cold air that's in the middle of the United States, I guess. I don't know. I've never seen fog blow in from the east. So, Alan, hey. Is that Alan? So thanks for joining me. I'm a little bit early, so I apologize. And I've been like chained to my desk for the last 2 weeks, just trying to get everything moved over from Why Is This True? Not everything, but all the Karl Mollison related material off of Why Is This True over to Get Wisdom. And so, hey everybody, thanks for checking in. And so that's been a lot of work. I've had to, in the process of doing that, I've had to force myself to become more organized. You know, little folders and files and places for this and places for that, and getting all my thumbnails organized and this and that. And we've been having meetings with that, and I'll tell you more about that later. First, I want to get the buzzkill stuff done first, and then we'll get to the updates about the Get Wisdom website. So anyway, there was a big disclosure data dump that came out from Corey Good and David Wilcock, and I know that's been I'm not on Facebook. I haven't been on Facebook for quite a while now. I'm not due to be back on Facebook until February 5th or thereabouts. So that's kind of where I check in and get the temperature. You know, a little bit on YouTube, but mostly on Facebook. So I'm kind of out of the loop a little bit with that. But I guess there's some buzz about that. And it was like a 23-page thing that Corey wrote, and then he was sick, and then so David went on to Jimmy Church's radio show and talked about this big data dump that Corey did. Corey was sick, or had that flu and got a fever and whatnot, went to the hospital. So anyway, our best wishes to all those folks. But anyway, so the disclosure narratives are ramping up, and there was a big one from Corey and David that was very long and detailed, and the focus remains largely on the idea that we're special and we have special powers, and everybody wants our DNA, and the higher dimensional benevolent ETs are going to do a reset for humans. And of course, this is very similar to the narrative that is given by Cobra, and there's other folks out there that are kind of in alignment with a lot of this talk about you know, benevolent ETs got our back. You know, we have to do the work, but they're there to reorganize things for us, in a manner of speaking. So it actually falls into the category of entertainment that pretends to be a complete story that still relies heavily on the Law of One material, rather than the research done by folks like Barbara Bertolic, Eve Lorgan, James Bartley, Dr. David Jacobs, Jacques Vallée, Dr. Carla Turner, Len Kasten, and others. You've heard me name these people before. If you haven't read any of their books, I highly recommend it. They don't pull any punches. Some of them are quite serious at what they do, quite accomplished at what they do, and have been at it for many, many, many years. And unfortunately, some of these folks that I just mentioned aren't with us anymore. And that's not including the exhaustive testimonials from actual experiencers and abductees. And these narratives also neatly avoids the issues of the mercenary army program, or what is also known as the SSP, the human slave / sex / body parts and cloning trade, which practically dominates the culture of the elite here on Earth. For those already versed in the information coming from the channeling series with Karl Mollison, it's fairly easy to see through these stories that still contain much truth, but never venture into a more realistic account of the actual alien agenda. So this is not necessarily malicious on their part or done with bad intent on their part or of any humans, but it's more a matter of mind control which is pervasive across the board. Some get extra attention, but everyone is subjected to it in one form or another. So the account given there and elsewhere can usually retain large numbers of light workers because they're the biggest threat, and truth seekers because they're the biggest threat, because it remains that the best lies are 90% true. So that probably won't change for some time, and this is a very well planned out and orchestrated. And this is just my opinion, backed up by some astonishing information, supported by even more astonishing channeling work by Karl Mollison, and the information coming from people like Marshall V.N. Summers and the Allies of Humanity. So, so that's my spiel on that. So, anyway, so we want to move on to some more stuff about the website. But first, I want to tell you about a fellow that he's a local guy for a little while anyway, that I met on the internet, and he just sent over his higher self channeling that was done with Karl Mollison recently. And he is a fellow who apparently did two 20 backs in this incarnation. And then in the previous incarnation, he had extensive involvement with the MAP. And I haven't read the whole thing yet. I increased the font size, I think from 12 to 18 or something like that, and printed it out front and back. And it came out to like 16 pages of material. So I'm still reading it. It's got to be one of the most fascinating higher self channelings I've ever read. And he's unique in that he's really taken good advantage of what he's learned. And from my perspective, the questions he had were super intelligent. So on January 24th, he and I are going to get together for a sit-down in-person interview. And he really has an incredible story, and we're both really excited to do this interview. So I hope to have it out before February. So that's going to be recorded on the 24th. So a lot of you probably already heard by now that we're going to reschedule the opening of the Get Wisdom website. We're going to try to open it on the 18th, but there was just too much to do. We weren't ready, and we wanted to have the website in better condition with respect to content, and just so we felt more confident about newcomers having a good experience, you know, when they come to the website. So it's going to be the end of April, and by then I think we'll have all the bugs worked out. It's a pretty aggressive undertaking, because the idea is that we want to handle large numbers of people eventually. So we're trying to set this up at the outset where everything is, for lack of a better term, internally hosted. So we're not relying on too much remote services. Like for instance, on my website, Why Is This True? It relies heavily on my YouTube channel. So most of the stuff that's there is either hosted by Google or hosted by YouTube, or it's a very dependent platform, put it that way. So the Get Wisdom website is not going to have those features. It's going to be very much a standalone entity where a lot of the things that are usually outsourced aren't. And that's just so that's for the purposes of protection, and the other idea that we're trying to incorporate into the Get Wisdom website is this idea that we can handle a lot of traffic. You know, that we could have a lot of people on that website. We could have a lot of participants. We could have a lot of dedicated members on the website, and using the forums and whatnot, and it'll be able to handle it. So that's going to be the end of April, and so we'll have a more formal announcement at that time. And for Get Wisdom, we now have 11 volunteers besides Karl, Brian, and myself. We have 11 volunteers working with us now, and 3 of them are translators. We have one for Spanish, one for Norwegian, and one for Russian. And it's been a blast meeting these people. We've been really fortunate for these people to find us and volunteer this way. Most of the work that needs to be done is transcription and editing work right now. But we do have the translations going on. So we have the prayers in Spanish now. We have the prayers I think we have the prayers in Norwegian now. And we have the prayers in Russian. We have the mission statement in Russian, and we have the mission statement in Spanish. So, and the mission statement, just in case I've read it on here before on the live up streams, but I'll do it again, just so you know that the Get Wisdom does have a mission statement. And this answers the question, why are we doing this? It's not what are we doing, but why. Okay, the Get Wisdom project is a divine manifestation to reawaken in the minds and hearts of humans across the planet to the reality of a divine partner, ready and willing to help their lives in many ways at all times and bring love to them and to all they wish to be reached by divine love in service to human betterment. This mission requires human participation, and the goal of the enterprise is to cultivate and refine tools for those participants to maximize overall success and benefit to the outcome. So that's the Get Wisdom mission statement. The fellow who's doing the Spanish translation is working on the video shorts, or the short videos. We call them snippets or whatever. You've seen them on my channel. They're just short outtakes from either conversations that I'm having with Karl, or Karl actually doing a channeling where there'll be some message that can kind of stand up on its own out of context. So the fellow doing the Spanish translations is working on those now, and I just sent him one the other day. And the woman doing the Russian translations, she is going ahead and taking on the channeling series itself, in particular the viewer questions for creator. So those are going to be translated into Russian, and she started on the first one here recently. The volunteer work is a bit overwhelming, but many hands make light work, and their generosity and enthusiasm is really appreciated. So, and we're going to meet some of them at the class too. The class is going to be February 2nd out here in Petaluma, a small town just south of me, north of San Francisco. And that's going to be February 2nd. We're going to have like a meet and greet dinner the night before. I think it's Thursday night, February 1st in Petaluma. So if you want to see that and not attend the class, I think it's they're just charging $10, and that's in the evening on Thursday night. And I'll put the information in the article that goes with this live stream on my website, and I'll probably go ahead and put it in the video description too, so you can check that out. Okay, so mostly what I've been doing since last Sunday is what I've been doing the previous week, and that's getting everything moved over to the new Get Wisdom website, and everything related to Karl, that is. So my Get Wisdom YouTube channel and website is still going to have all of my other interviews. Like the one I'm going to do with this MAP experiencer fellow, that's going to be on my channel. It's not, that doesn't have anything to do with Get Wisdom per se. So the things I'm doing is I'm moving all the video files, the description, thumbnail images, making spreadsheets to manage all of that, so we can make sure the content on Get Wisdom is in good order. So as far as the volunteers are concerned, we still need a social media guru and an internet graphics pro to come on board, and we're also interested in getting more translators. That's a critical thing. Translation is a huge amount of work. So if we had 3 Russian translators or 4 German translators, that wouldn't be too many. And actually, when you get numbers like that, then it makes the work a lot easier. So if you're interested in doing any translation work, we're in dire need. We've got lots of material. The kind of the top of the list in my thinking right now is maybe German, French, Italian, and Chinese, and maybe Portuguese for Brazil. But in any language, we're very interested in any kind of people, any volunteers that want to do translation work. Okay, so this is also related to the website. So many of you probably have heard me mention a fellow named Anthony Durenberger, who is a very early supporter of my channel, my YouTube channel and my website. He helped me get my website started. He's given me financial assistance. The guy's done so many things for me to keep this whole thing moving along. So I'm very grateful for his help. But anyway, the other morning I had coffee with him. I drink tea. I quit coffee. I drink tea. But I was over there and I had tea, and I'll probably go back to coffee because I love it. But I was drinking tea and we were hanging out, and he goes, oh, I got this really good idea for the Get Wisdom website, and he said we should include some type of graphic that portrays the inception and growth and the goal of the Get Wisdom project. He said this would not need any verbal explanation, but would work on all the viewers subconsciously, so they eventually have fixed in their minds the growth and the goal of the Get Wisdom project. And I thought that's so cool, you know, because just to have, because the website, the way we so far, it's just mostly, you know, nice backgrounds and whatnot, but there's nothing really graphic in there, or there's a little logo thing, kind of like a wing. It's all very tasteful, very nice. We didn't have any kind of like get you graphics yet, and not that we need that, but I just thought the way he explained it was something to be really cool. You know, something that kind of gives you a visual representation of what the goal is here, is to just get more people praying and being actively involved in trying to do a partnership with Creator. And so I thought that was a great idea. And so he said it would work on the viewer subconsciously, so they eventually have fixed in their minds the growth and goal of Get Wisdom. So I got to thinking, well, would this graphic refer to the 7 billion people on Earth, or some percentage of the worldwide population needed to make something like Get Wisdom go viral, or pass the tipping point, or trigger the 100th monkey phenomenon? You know, so I had all these ideas like that, you know, spinning around my head, and then so I got to thinking about what the image could be like, and I started playing around with it myself, and I just didn't have the video skills or the equipment to do what was in my head. So I sent the idea over to my friend Walter Noasad, who he has a really cool and fantastic and popular YouTube channel called Search for Truth Reality, and he's the fellow who did the really excellent video interview with Bill Tompkins and Robert Wood. So I really encourage you to go check out Walter's stuff. It's amazing. He's got some really cool interviews there too. And so I sent it over to Walter, and he's, you know, he plays his cards close, and he's a man of few words often, but I really have a lot of respect for him. He's very good at what he does. And so I sent this over to him. I said, we're looking for a short 30-second clip for Get Wisdom newcomer landing page that starts with something like what's found here. And I sent him the links to video blocks and another website called Pond5, POND5.com, and they have some really cool images of planet Earth, and then going away off into that galaxy, or coming up around the moon and then looking at Earth and stuff. So I sent them that, and I said where the viewer arrives at Earth to see the planet rotating or still, it shows small points of light growing larger and spinning with the Earth, and indicating an increasing number of praying Lightworkers all over the Earth, comprising a higher and higher percentage of the population as the Earth spins. And then the only text that might be included with the short video graphic, and this was supplied by Karl, he said, add your divine light to ours. So that would appear at the end of this little graphic. Add your divine light to ours. So Walter says, yeah, let me think about it. And then I get an email from him. He said, oh, I worked on it all night. I stayed up all night. I worked on it all day. And I'm like, holy shit, you know. I didn't know what to expect. But, you know, I think he had like 15 hours into it. So finally sends the link over, and I can see it, and it's freaking gorgeous. He did a beautiful job on this thing. So I sent it over to Brian, who's our web guy, and I didn't hear from him. I sent it over to Karl. I didn't hear from Karl. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I don't know how this is a goose egg, but whatever. But anyway, what Brian was doing was actually putting it on the website. That's why I didn't hear from him. So there it is. It's on the website. It's freaking beautiful, and then Karl likes it and everything. So anyway, it's on there. We got to see it. And if there's some way I can put it in my article or whatever, I'll do that. I'll embed it in the article so you can see it. It's very well done. So I'm very happy with it. Let's see. So so the prognosis is that I will, and the volunteers will be working straight through to the end of April. Probably no breaks, just to get everything on the website up to snuff. Then we'll announce it end of April. As far as the class goes, I'll put the details in the description for this video when I'm done. The class is coming up pretty quick here. We got one of our volunteers and her daughter. She's going to be flying out from Eastern Canada. Got another woman who's driving from north of Edmonton, Canada, all the way down here for the class, and then she's going to go visit a friend. We have another woman flying in from Vietnam. There's I think it's like 23, 25 people that are going to be attending the class. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be exciting. It's a really nice church hall in Petaluma. Nice hardwood floors, nice stage, little eating area, very nice digs for the class. And then the other thing I forgot to do last week was tell everybody that I finally finished reading Bryce Taylor, aka Sue Ford's book, Thanks for the Memories. And people have heard me say before, if you want to learn about ETs, ascension, and earth changes, and UFOs and everything, study mind control first. That was the conclusion I came to months ago. Was like, wow, I wish I would have studied mind control first. I'd be a lot farther down to where I was heading, where I was going to end up. And so in that light, if you want to learn about mind control, I consider this required reading. This is an excellent book, very well written. She has an amazing story, and I've put out an invitation to do an interview with her, and I haven't heard anything back. I totally understand if she decides not to do it. But anyway, this should be required reading, really. And the other one I recommend is the Andrew Perrow story, which you can read online. And Eve Lorgan was involved with that. That's another outstanding story. Okay, so I know there's been some comments up here. I think I'll be able to get to read them pretty soon because I have a guy who does screen capture for me, and I think there's a way I can read them on YouTube. I just found out not too long ago, so I'll try that. Some things I'm good on YouTube, some things not so good. So anyway, how are we doing on time here? We're doing pretty good. We're only 20 minutes into this. Okay, so I want to thank Michael H. For his generous donation to the GoFundMe Why Is This True? GoFundMe Why Is This True campaign. He and there's a couple other guys that have done multiple donations, and I really appreciate it. It makes a huge difference, enabling us to keep going, for me to keep doing this work full time. It's pretty critical right now because we're kind of like in that handoff, where, for some people, WIT's going away because they came to WIT because of Karl, and some people kind of left WIT because I'm not really much championing some of the usual suspects in the disclosure movement anymore. And then we're starting this other Get Wisdom project, which is a paid, it's paid content there. But that money is not going to be going in anybody's pocket for some time because we're going to be doing the advertising. So the donations are very important right now for me to keep things going here. And I really appreciate everybody who's been doing that. I want to thank Michael H. again, and I want to thank Victoria, Juan Celaya, Juan Pablo Martinez Celaya for their donations. And these donations are critically important to enable the work that is going on now, not only for Why Is This True, but also for the Get Wisdom project. So there's no income right now from either of these, no generated income, and there won't be for a while. So the need is great to enable the work to continue full time, which is what I've been doing. So I really appreciate whatever you can give, and I want to thank everybody for your support, your love, your blessings, and especially your prayers. And thank you so much, and have a great Sunday. Bye.